I think that a lot of times, especially since 9/11, I think a lot of the administration policies have been a little bit more conservative concerning like border control and everything. So I think that's affected South Asians in the sense that a lot of them aren't able to come over here for reasons, that are not on the agenda, reasons that show some sort of discrimination against South Asians, because they believe that they could be, since they're so closely related with like a lot of the Muslim countries, they believe that they could be terrorists, or they're harboring terrorists. And so I think a lot more background checks, a lot more delays in the system, like more of that red tape is used against South Asians as opposed to other minorities from coming in here. Um, it's I don't know. I think legal, from a legal aspect, it's a little bit more complicated just because it's difficult, because so many people are trying to flood to the United States, and we basically have these quota systems where we can only let in a few amount of people, and those quota systems seem to be like tightening every single year. So it doesn't seem very likely to me that many of the reforms are actually going to go through, or if they go through, that they're actually going to be really implemented. I'm not really sure how the administration plans on focusing their efforts on actually letting in people
What's your
in.
personal opinion on that? Do you think that they should?
Yeah, I agree in letting immigrants in. I mean, that's how this country was founded, by just letting people in, especially. And I work more on an asylum case where people are actually having to come in where they're persecuted, and they've actually cut down numbers concerning asylum as well. And there's a bunch of frivolous suits, and they're also concerned with terrorist activity, with people coming in from countries where they have been persecuted. And so I think that while it's an important measure to take to let these people in, especially from an asylum aspect, I think that's more of a pressing issue than immigration. So my opinion would be to focus more on the asylum side rather than the immigration side, because there are people who actually desperately need to come into the country and aren't being allowed to. I haven't come across, I deal mostly with Somalis, so I haven't come across any South Asian women, but I do know that I think there's an organization in Cerritos called Sahara, and they deal a lot with like South Asian domestic violence issues. And I think that although domestic violence is not one of the protected categories that you can come into the country under asylum, a South Asian woman who might be abused in India might be able to come in through that. But it's usually very unlikely that they take women who've just been suffering from domestic abuse, just based on that, because it's not a protected category. So I think for South Asian women, it would have to be some sort of like well-founded persecution or past persecution that she suffered. I know that in a lot of the Muslim countries, they still practice FGM, and so that would be a reason. If a South Asian woman had undergone that procedure, then she'd definitely actually be able to let into the country because of that.